This is Arturo, and at 49 years old, he's lived a life that many people would dream of.
I went and bought a house that was 5,300 square feet, movie theater, pool, $140,000 car.
But then, something happened that changed everything.
The last couple of years, the industry I'm in has declined quite a bit. But I'll still go out to dinner, nice restaurant, order a bottle of wine, and I'm still like in that mentality of living that life.
And with making no change, led him to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 forms of debt. So almost $800,000 of debt. From being fake rich to now living paycheck to paycheck, this story is one not to miss. In this video, we'll answer the question everyone wants to know. Is Arturo done for? My name is Romain, and for the past 10 years, I've been on a quest to tackle America's toughest personal finance situations. Leveraging my Ivy League master degree and personal experience, I've found solutions for what seems impossible. In 1 year, you can completely be in a different spot. Are we ready to take action?
Yes.
Will this be the one I cannot solve? Let's see what happens. Let's look at your profile. You're 49 years old, you're originally from Florida, you currently live in Las Vegas, and you work in the real estate industry. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Looking at the way you've rated your personal finance from chilling to Mayday, Arturo, this is scary to hear. At 49, you've rated yourself as yikes.
Yikes. Yes, I did.
What's going on?
The last couple of years, the industry I'm in has declined quite a bit, and the last 6 months, I've gone through a lot of personal things as well, and I'm worried.
Yes, you will find that Arturo at some point had a life of a dream. That came with crazy lifestyle inflation. In fact, we'll be diving a little bit more into that story. But today, as our friend mentioned, we're finding ourselves in quite a pinch with hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt across so many different forms, including credit cards, HELOCs. It's all over the place. But at some point, you had the life. How did this look like?
My biggest year was 375, but every year up until then, I was making more and more and more. So I assumed the next year I'm going to make even more because the people in my industry that I know, some of them, even at my company, were making over $1 million. You know, they had been in the industry longer. And it didn't happen like that. But that's the year that I went and bought a house that was 5,300 square feet. It had a built-out basement, movie theater, pool, everything you can think of. And I got the $140,000 car. And,
$140,000 car?
Yeah, I had a $140,000 car, and which the insurance alone was $700. And at the time, it didn't matter to me, you know. And you know, I've always liked to travel, so we traveled a lot. You know, Europe, South America. Like I've traveled quite a bit, and like you said, I lived a life, you know. And I was able to provide for my daughter really well, and send her to private school, and it was really good back then.
Yeah, that's the dream life. You had everything kind of lined up on your side, including a really strong relationship at the time that was also working with a woman that was making over 6 figures. Mm-hmm. But then, over time, as the just economic situation in real estate fell down, we are speaking not too long ago, in the recent month, things started to go sideways. What's going on there?
Well, I'm actually a mortgage lender. I'm a branch manager at a mortgage company. And for the last 2.5 years now, you know, rates went up and the industry hasn't been as solid, you know. And I've gone through a lot of things personally too in the last year and the last few months, like me and my relationship ended. So I had at least some help financially from her. And now everything's just on me, you know, all the bills, everything. On, you know, not to mention that I've racked up credit cards and different things I've had to take out. I had an AC unit go out. I have to finance that. So I'm paying that monthly, different things like that's added up, you know.
Not only was your income slowing down, because for the most part, you're not really based, you're based on commission, mm-hmm. but also, as you mentioned, on the personal front, things were starting to shaken up. Walk me through some of those issues. I want to understand kind of what happened there.
Well, one of them is my mom. My mom took a turn with her health. I do everything for her. You know, just feed her, make sure she showers, anything she needs. She doesn't really do much for herself nowadays. So there's been that. Plus, she has a mortgage and her stuff that I'm helping with as well. And then, a lot of different things happened that with my relationship that it deteriorated. And, that's not one single thing. I mean, we always kind of had clashes with our personalities, but it didn't help with the situation with my mom, with my finances, the industry I'm in. A lot of those things kind of added to the problems, and the stress and the arguments.
Generally, the number one reason for divorces or breakups comes from finances. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into that on your side. How would at some point, she was someone that was making, hundreds of thousands of dollars to today you're below the $100,000 mark, still, bringing good salary, but you have really big expenses.
Yeah.
How did this dynamic evolve over time? Kind of the expectations of having to travel, a certain lifestyle. Would you say that finances had something to do with?
It definitely had something to do with it. I think there was an expectation of me to do more than what I'm doing. And I don't feel like she understood that the industry I'm in is just tough. Most people in this industry have gone out. Not most, but at least I'd say 50% of this industry has left in the last 2.5 years. Yeah, the traveling wasn't like it used to be. We used to travel a lot. That slowed down. And so these are things that contributed to it. Yeah, we weren't, living the lifestyle we were before to a certain degree, because I still felt like we ate out a lot. We didn't really hold back too much, but the traveling and things like that. Yeah. And, and I try to be tighter with my money, which I don't like doing, but obviously you have to. And then at the same time, I had taken out that HELOC and we were in the middle of a remodel. Again, I didn't expect this. I also didn't expect this downturn in the industry to last this long. That was July of 2022. And here we are late, 2.5 years later, and it's still the same or worse. So it's just not what I expected. And it was just the timing was horrible. It's just every month. It's like month to month right now.
It's month to month.
I've eaten through a lot of my savings, and I'm getting to the point where I can't keep eating through my savings.
Arturo, there was most probably these expectations that, man, this guy is almost unhittable. You've gone through years and years making over $200,000. That was almost like your minimum for years.
$250 was my minimum for a very long time.
How do you go through kind of the mental stability of just realizing that, what the hell, I just kind of, my standard of living now has completely shifted. I mean, we're speaking, and you guys will see, about tens of thousands of dollars of credit card that you pretty much had to compensate. We had as you navigate through all of that. Mm-hmm. How did your mental state sustain such a swings in kind of everything that was thrown to you at life at the time?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, other than the traveling, I haven't until now really where it's hit me. I've still, not as much, but I'll still go out to dinner, nice restaurant, I order a bottle of wine, and I'm still like in that mentality of living that life. And then the bill comes in, it's just for two people, like $160, $200, and it's like I could have just ate a, pollo loco.
That's right. Yeah, I wanted a pollo loco because I'm still seeing.
I still
expenses.
I know you're gonna go through it, so I might as well say it now.
That's right.
And I'm not doing it as much as I used to, and I'm not in a relationship anymore, so it's not, with me and her, like, because we were so busy, we didn't cook at home a lot. We'd go out, and she helped with that too. She'd pick up checks here, there, so it's not like she didn't help with that, but it's just that life. And I try not to limit myself too much, but the finances aren't there anymore, so I need to, I know I need to.
Let's see how now this transition to your income and your assets. Speaking about numbers, let's open the can.
All right.
Looking at your statement in 2024, so we are beginning of 2025 here. You've moved from, again, the 300 plus at your peak to last year making
$88,000.
$88,000. That's about
my worst year by far.
This is your worst year.
Oh, yeah.
And with regards to other source of income, what's nice to see is that you've not let yourself just go through that one track, which off camera, you mentioned to me that you feel maybe a little bit burned out in that track. You also have other side hustles. You've invested yourself into different other business ventures, mm-hmm. and combine, that's an extra or so $5,000. Now, something that our friend here has also been doing that is a saving grace is we think about that expensive mortgage plus HELOC is that you're doing house hacking. And with your current pretty nice house, I must say it's a really nice house.
Thank you.
At 2,800 square feet, you have 4 available rooms. 1 is taken by you, but the 3 others, you're renting them out.
Yeah, just this past week I put it on and I already got two people that are moving in.
How much are you renting those rooms out?
One of the rooms I'm renting for $1,200, the other one for $1,000, and then the other room that I'm gonna rent out is gonna be $1,200 as well.
Wow, okay. I mean, that's pretty nice together. If we look at your income, well, excluding the house hacking, it's about $93,000 or so. When we compare that against the median in the United States, for people ranging between 45 and 54, it is at 61,400. So you're making definitely
Still
slightly
doing
more.
better.
But again, guys, we're going to be speaking about thousands and thousands, 5 digits worth of expenses every month. But now if I combine that with your house hacking, that brings you net per month at around 9,600 or so, as including the house hacking that you just launched. That is definitely going to be necessary as we transition to your assets. So for someone that was making hundreds of thousands of dollars, I wish I could see a little bit more than what I'm seeing here, but it's not too bad. In fact, we are recording here a few checking accounts, and thank you so much, Arturo, for providing me with everything. Mm-hmm. You have one checking account with a current balance of about 1,200 or so. You have another saving account. That's your saving race at 49,120. Mm-hmm. Is that invested into a higher saving account or just a regular saving account?
I think it's just a regular savings.
Regular, okay. We'll be speaking on the recommendation front, but you're kind of missing on the 4 or 5% that you could be getting from a higher saving to fight inflation, right? And this is kind of dead money right now. We're speaking on that. You also have a brokerage account, and guys, this is gonna be juicy because I looked into that brokerage account, and our friend is invested into one stock. Yeah. What is going on here? You have $19,200 invested into what?
DraftKings.
Okay, so out of everything that exists, you have one stock. You're gonna have to explain to me what's going on here. What the heck?
I took a tip from. I'm not really proficient in the stock market. I took a tip from a really, really good friend of mine who's very, very wealthy, very smart. He makes a ton of money.
Well, how much did you invest?
25. And not that long ago, actually, it was at 27. It went down over the years, and I was like, okay. But he said it's long term. It's long term. As more states approve online gambling, blah blah, it'll go up. And it went down. It went down, and up until recently, it was at 27,000. Maybe I should have cashed it out, and I didn't. And then today, because the market's not doing well, these last few months, it's at like 19.
How long ago did you invest?
After I sold my house, so in 2021.
So you invested $25,000 in 2021 on that position. You're not going to be happy with what I'm saying. If instead of listening to that insider tip, you would have invested into something maybe more generic like the S&P 500, that $25,000 would be today worth $38,350. So yeah, that tip cost you 20 grand right here. So that's why, guys, those, you need to get into it, or the Reddit, get on that train and so on. It's definitely a long term. You've been going down. At least if you had broke even on it, I would be more happy. But
had I cashed on it like a month ago, I would have made a little money on it, but I didn't. Yeah. Thinking, okay, it's rebounding. It's going to get
$38,000. We're at 19.
Okay, I get it.
All right. Excellent. Now, what is also interesting is I am seeing an atypical asset. This one is a little bit tougher. It's a ring.
Oh, yeah.
So with that partner, we had a pretty... we have some juice here, guys. How much was the ring?
Oh, I hope she doesn't see this because she never knew, but it was a 4-carat diamond, so she should know it's a lot. It was $32,000.
We're speaking real diamonds. Now,
it was a real diamond, yeah.
I know that...
This was before lab-grown became a thing.
Yeah, by the way, personally, I love lab-grown. I know, it's really dependent on the person that you're offering to, but yeah. I absolutely love it. you know, because at the end of the day, it is top quality. It's still a diamond. It just hasn't been taken from Earth, but it's amazing.
Unfortunately for me, it's crashed the real diamond market, and that same ring would have cost about $2,000 if I'd got a lab grown.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, this is what I found out because I try to sell it. That's where you're going with this. I know.
Yeah, man. Want the truth. So you've been going to a different shops. How much are they offering you for that $32,000 ring?
They said the most they can give me is less than $5,000.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I didn't sell it because I was like, one of them told me to sell it private. So that's what I'm going to try to do.
All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of grace here. I'm going to put a $6,000 ring valuation. What was the idea behind buying such an expensive ring? What was going on?
Well, I mean, I've never been married. And, you know, obviously, like I said, I'm 49 now. And I feel like, okay, this was the woman at one point. And I want to do everything big. You know, I wanted like a big wedding too. She didn't really want a big wedding, but I did, you know.
What was your budget in mind for that wedding?
I didn't care. Like I wanted 150 people there. Let's put it that way, in a really nice place and all that. So, you know, we never got that far to really know how much it was going to cost. And then she talked me because it happened. We got engaged at the end of 2019. We were going to get married in 2020. Pandemic came. That put everything on hold. And then so she talked me down to like less than 50 people. And I was like, okay. And then it just never happened because we had problems and stuff and all that. But yeah, but the idea with the ring was, you know, I wanted her to have a beautiful ring. And, you know, I put a lot of thought into what she would like and a really nice ring. And it's a beautiful ring. She loved it. And that's all it was, you know.
But then when the relationship ended, was she the one that gave it?
She gave it back to me, yeah. Yeah, wow. She's not like that to say, I'm keeping the ring, yeah. Fair. She did give it back to me. Yeah, I almost, now knowing what I can get for it, I'm always like, you should have kept it and saved me the the pain of finding that out. Right, Do not buy a really expensive ring for somebody. That's what I'm going to say.
All right, now, we have some good assets that are some of your saving grace. We see a retirement account here on a 401k traditional that you've been contributing for the 17 years in your company.
No, not that long.
Oh, not even?
Yeah, maybe 6, 7 years, 8 years.
What?
Yeah, I try to be aggressive with it because I started later.
That's a good point.
You know, I didn't know. You know, I didn't grow up knowing about any of these things, and it was actually my ex who was very smart that said, "Hey, you need to get a 401k."
Yeah.
And so I did that.
Yep. Retirement, guys. I mean, Social Security is guaranteed until 2035. So for most of us, our generation, it's game over. It's only us. So you have 189,500. Okay, stick around. Don't worry. There is some debt to balance that out. I wish it was pure cash. I also see a very nice house. It's actually a house that I would love to have. I'm not going to lie. Valued at $905,000. Mm-hmm. The bunch of mortgage, HELOCs, renovations. There is quite a bit of debt on that as well. You have some equity though. But together, right now, I'm not seeing any other form of assets. I wish I could see maybe something like a Roth IRA or like, I don't know, some other forms of investments like $19,000 on a brokerage. Walk me a little bit through, you know, you've made the big bucks, my friend. You know, we are speaking like $375,000 at some point in your life. And today in total, okay, I'm seeing $1.1 million in assets, but quite a bit of debt. How am I not seeing more, especially in kind of like the brokerage accounts and investments? Yes, you've invested into that house, but again, there is a big mortgage behind it. Where did that money go?
I just always kept money in the bank. I put big money down on every house I've bought. I put it like 20% down on every house I bought. So even this house. So when I sold the big house that we talked about, that I made, over $300,000 off of it, but I invested in 20% on this house. I invested in the DraftKings. I also have the medical thing that I told you about. That's I invested $100,000 in that. So I didn't really keep a lot of the money.
All right, and in fact, you're correct. I'm missing an account that you invested as well that has about $65,000 into it.
Yeah.
That's earning you a few $1,000 a year in dividends reinvested. But together, that brings you right now at 49 years old, total assets at $1,235,110. But, guys...
How many pennies do I have?
Right? Well, we'll see.
You got very, very down to
That's
the last
right.
dollar.
I am
I'm wondering
specific.
If there's any change in there for me?
Yes, well, let's see. Actually, our friend Arturo is very organized, and you brought up the juice, the debt. And there is, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 forms of debt. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start with a pretty nice one. I'm going to speak to you about your house. Your house, you have two forms of debt. One is a mortgage, $476,335. Mm-hmm. But also, you have a HELOC. You're going to have to explain to me what the heck happened, of $176,000. How did you get $176,000 of your house? What's going on here?
Before we moved in the house, I remodeled it. So I took a HELOC out to remodel it.
Because you bought it from a flipper, so it was already done. What did you do?
Well, when I bought the house, me and my now ex had also broken up for some time. When we got back together, I told her I bought this house. I live in an apartment, right? And I told her I bought this house. I'm paying for both at the time. And, when my lease is up, we should move into it. She had moved in with me in the apartment. And then we were going to move into it, but we wanted to remodel it and make it more what we want and open it up the floor plan, because it was all like there was drop downs and these big pantries and all these things in the way. So we did a lot to open up the whole floor plan and completely remodel the house, right? And it's beautiful. I absolutely love the house. It couldn't have come out better.
That brings your total amount of, I would say, mortgage together at $652,303, or equity on your house, positive, at $252,697. About $250,000 positive on that house. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, that would be nice if we had this, because that would give you a really strong positive net worth. But we also have a massive amount of credit card debt that you're going to have to help me understand a little bit here. Let's go through some of those together. You have a Citi card at 25% with $17,042. You also have a Wells Fargo at $21,107 at 13%, so that's not too bad. I see a Home Depot cards at $2,673. A couple lines of credits as well for $14,621, $3,908. I see quite a bit of expensive debt here, averaging around between 12% and 30%. What's going on through all of that money? Where?
I don't know. I've just used my credit cards and they're not really paid much towards them, which I should have. But most of it, I've kind of been just paying the minimum payments on for years, and I know that's killing me.
Because on minimum payments, we're speaking also, thousands of dollars here. I see that you're paying $600 on one, $451, $322, $116, $204. But the balance are not going down.
Not enough.
Not zero. Hold on. I want to show you something that's crazy. So there is one, let's say for the $21,100. You've paid $451, $440, $421. So you've paid about $1,200. The principal, the balance, has gone down $188.
I don't know. Was that bad?
And that's for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So paying minimum payment is
bad.
It's killing you, right? That's what it is. You can't get back to it. In fact, I will be addressing the amount of interest that you're paying on those cards later here. But I can tell you, per month, you're easily losing over $1,000.
Oh yeah,
of interest, like easy.
I know. I realize that.
But then I also see as well some care credit for medical expenses, about $7,200 as well. One that's surprising and unfortunate is I see a big balance for AC unit repair of $10,500 too. In terms of consumer debt, it's easily over $60,000. What's your credit score right now, what you would say? I mean, you're probably in the upper 700, easy, because you have crazy credit lines here.
I had over an 800 credit score at one point. Now I'd probably say it's about 730, 740.
Because you're maintaining all those minimum payments, you're protecting yourself on that credit front, but
losing my butt.
What's your thought behind maintaining good credit? A brief apartheid to let you know about this week's sponsor, Aura, and let me speak from experience. Every week, news breaks about a new cyber attack or a potential data leaks, and that has led consumers to not really knowing how to protect themselves anymore. It puts them at risk of credit fraud and identity theft, and we've seen people on this show facing those issues. Aura, pretty much they offer you a monitoring services for your personal information. They will alert you quickly if they detect any form of threats or if your information has been compromised. They will also help you out to deal with some potential threats. Their services allows you to encrypt your Wi-Fi information, protecting your phone and your computer from malware. Aura is pretty much used by tens of thousands of people across the United States. They are the leader in their sectors. I use them myself, and so I encourage you to check out their services. I have a link in the description below. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this video. And now, let's get back to our content. Because, I mean, right now, right, you're spending thousands and thousands of interest every year. Why do you want to keep good
credit? Probably because I work in a credit-based industry, mortgage, and I know how important it is to have good credit.
But for what?
The difference.
Because, I mean, when you think about it, you already have the house. You're leasing a brand new BMW that we'll be speaking about soon. You have pretty much already very strong credit lines.
It's not brand new, buddy. It's 2 years old.
Into my eyes, it's pretty new. Huh? You didn't go for a 5 years old BMW right here. Huh? It's really nice, actually. I saw it outside.
Thank you.
But let's be frank, right? What would you need that credit for? Like, you will be surprised by some of the recommendations that I have. I'm telling you, we're going to have to freaking plumb in that credit. You're far from the drastic case that many of you guys are potentially thinking of. But we're going to have to say fuck that credit for at least a few years. Because in a way, you're protecting your credit right now with thousands and thousands of dollars that you cannot afford when timing on it is unnecessary. I don't mind you not having to use your credit for 4 years, because that's more or less the play that we're going to have to play together. Because I don't see you having any need for credit in the next 4 years, but you're paying thousands of dollars to protect it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because of that industry that you're playing in that you know is so important. But you will see some of my recommendations are pretty drastic.
Definitely not what I expected you to tell me today.
You will see.
I guess, let me say this. Not the biggest reason, but the first thing that happened was when I remember getting my credit run. The first time I went to buy a car, and I had never had my credit run. Yeah, maybe for little credit cards and stuff I had when I was young, but I never thought about credit scores. And I went to a Honda to buy a Honda, and I wanted a brand new car. This is years ago. I was 20-something, and the guy runs my credit and says, "You have an 810 credit score," and I was like, what does that mean? I don't know. I have no clue. A kid. And he goes, they had a brand new, not brand new, but they had a pretty new Mercedes on the lot. And I was just looking at it. I wasn't interested in it. I went there to buy a Honda. I was going to buy a Honda. And he goes, he said, I didn't buy the Mercedes first of all. Okay. But he said, put it this way. You want that Mercedes? I said, it's nice. He goes, you can walk out here with that Mercedes with your credit score. And I said, it's that good? He's like, and now I know, being in the industry, that it's like less than 5% of the population have a 800 credit score. This is a long time ago. I haven't had it in a long time, okay? Just because I have debt now. I didn't have so much debt.
The debt ratio is crazy, yep.
But I also feel like responsible. I'm like one of those people, I'm very much a man of my word and all that. I took on that debt. I bought those things. I paid that stuff. And it's not like I have to be loyal to a creditor, but I owe that money. And I feel like I've been able to pay it up until now. And I'm very optimistic also. I'm to here with bills, but I've always found a way to pay. And I feel like at some point something, if my business came back, when it comes back, I'm going to start to just use my money to pay all that off. Like just chunk away at it. You know what I mean? That's my mindset, I guess, because I feel responsible. It's not like I'm,
But I'm not
bit
asking you to
fraud.
completely discount it. Like you're gonna have to pay it in a way, but I want for us to play with the system. I'm going to provide you with a recommendation that literally optimize your way. I think many of the things that I'm about to tell you are gonna really surprise you.
Okay. I'm already surprised. So yeah.
But I can tell you straightforward, if you continue in that track with your current income, you're going to be continuing to lose money month over month. You pretty much have right now, and I'm not even accounting for some of the spend, but you're losing over $2,000 per month, and I'm being kind, including the fact that you also are renting your rooms, which you didn't in a few recent months. But with all those minimum payments, so not only you are working in a job that, you don't feel maybe the most rewarded. You're protecting your credit score, but you're paying minimum payments. But on top of that, you're not building any additional wealth other than through your house, okay, which you have a little bit of equity, but you're not paying back anything else. It's not like you're draining yourself at work, fighting against your debt. No, you're losing money while not really progressing. You kind of like are breaking even on pretty much what you are invading into. So we need pretty much a drastic change because you have those bad debts, but you also are carrying, frankly, you are a father, the student loans of your daughter as well.
Yeah.
Who never completed her education. As much as we love her, the $52,165, that's an expensive route.
Luckily, she only went for a year.
Yeah, so that's
That was 1 year.
$693 per month. The question I have for you is, I believe that your daughter is 24 years old. What does she think about that debt? Why does it fall on you?
We've never really talked about it. That was something that I was planning on doing for her, that my parents weren't able to do for me. And at that time in my life, I was able to do that. That was back she went to college in like 2018, I believe. So it's been a while. And I was doing good back then, so it didn't matter. It's just that when the pandemic came, nobody made payments on the student loans, was in forbearance, so I did the same. I didn't pay either,
That's fair.
And maybe I should have.
No, I wish you would have paid.
To chop away at the debt,
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that is 7.6%. You have credit cards that are running, almost close to 30%. And
Yeah.
what's nice about your...
Probably more now. I put those numbers in a while back. There's probably, how rates change, so with credit cards. So it's probably more now.
With your way of managing your finances, you are fairly nicely organized. I see kind of some of the efforts that you've been doing with paying back some of your debt, and I see that you've organized it not by the balance, but by the interest, which is awesome. We always want to hit the highest interest first.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm gonna give you the full rundown. So again, 52,164. That brings your current total debt right now to $784,192. So almost $800,000 of debt. Again, a lot of which, fortunately, is a mortgage, but $60,000 plus of bad debt and so diversified. And now let's actually transition through actually your spending because it's also pretty juicy. First, your house. It costs you $3,513 per month. That is 36% of your income. We like it to be below 28. Now, what's nice is, again, you have 3 new coming roommates that are going to coming in at $3,200. So with regards to the house, as much as I would love to buy it from you, although I don't have the money, I would definitely not sell that shit out. I would definitely keep it. In fact, you've also invested quite a bit into it. So there's no reason for
I'm glad you didn't go that way because that was going to be...
Now, I'm glad to also see that your freaking lease on that brand new BMW is coming to an end because $725 a month combined with crazy insurance. I've never seen that. We're speaking here, insurance cost $738 every 2 months. Mm-hmm. What the hell is going on that you're almost at $400 a month on your damn insurance?
I don't know. I actually talked to my insurance guy the other day, and because they raised it this next one coming up is even more, and I'm like, why are they raising my insurance? He's like,
hell, $400.
Let me shop it around for you. So I'm definitely looking to reduce my insurance. I don't know. It's a lease. I don't know if that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't explain that. When you shop around for insurance, just so that you guys know, at least, do not take the state minimum, 50 bodily injury, 50,100. Preferably, I'm on 100, 300. And you always want to match bodily injury to uninsured, underinsured, which I hope you have.
I do.
That's something that's very, very important.
I do.
I got screwed myself and landed in $160,000 worth of debt. When it
Yeah,
was
no, I
not
have
even my
good
fault.
coverage, and I have to have some good coverage because it's a lease anyway. So
Yeah, well,
It
that's
requires
right.
certain-
$400 for that. My friend, that brings, with gas...
no gas, it's electric.
Oh.
Ha! I knew you were gonna try to get me with that one. No gas. I've been driving electric for about 10 years now.
Really?
I had 2 Teslas and then this one. Yeah, I love electric.
Yeah, I mean, your car expense is 1,116, so they're juicing you on that electricitad. Okay? By the way, guys, just a fun fact. I'm always in the market for a good deal. Right now, for used cars on Marketplace, I'm seeing deals left and right. I literally was that close just for the fun, because I like to bargain and so on, to buy. Yes, it's not as prestigious as a very nice BMW electric Berlin that you have, but a nice Mitsubishi Mirage, okay, with 100,000 miles, fully service, negotiated down, clean Carfax for $3,600. I'm not telling you to drive a $5,000 car with the status that you have and will be speaking, but don't tell me, guys, that, oh, I need that $15,000 car and all that BS. No, I'm seeing left and right good deals for sub below 5,000. If you know your thing, right, go on Facebook Marketplace, go with a mechanic, so you're positive you're another lemon, feel a little bit the guy, have him search for the Carfax, and kind of get your game going. There are deals out there for transportation that are definitely not costing you 1,100. Personally, I have a brand new Ford Maverick. My cost per month on my financing is about $275. I put $80 worth of fuel a month, and my insurance in the same location as you, and the same location as you, is about 110. And I'm protected like you won't believe it. So.
Yeah, I know. I could do better there.
Yeah. Okay.
But at least I did downgrade from my Porsche and my really expensive Tesla, the first one.
Yeah. Well,
I have downgraded.
what is gonna be next? From Porsche to Tesla to BMW? We're gonna land on Marketplace.
You're gonna put me on a bicycle, which I have 2 of them as well.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's look at some of your spend. You're gonna have to explain to me, my friend. You're going to events left and right, huh? The T-Mobile Arena is a pretty good one. On that day in February, you spent almost $100 at the coffee there. What did you buy?
At the T-Mobile?
Yeah.
That was a hockey game.
Yeah, but hockey game, it's not even the ticket. That's Levy. That's one of the restaurants.
I didn't pay for the tickets. But I got somebody invites me, and anytime you get a drink for 2 people, it's $40, and so I at least got to buy them a drink or 2 because they got me the ticket. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah, it's not. I should probably just say no. I can't go.
Nah.
But
Well,
that's
I mean,
another thing.
no,
That's
it's-
Let me say this. That's an expense. I had season tickets for 7 years until the year they won the Stanley Cup. It's costing me about the last year, because it went up a little bit every year. It was $12,000 every year for season ticket. I had really good seats down below, a few rows back, and I did give those up. I didn't want to, but I did end up.
I
giving
mean,
them
I'm
up.
glad. I would have seen that on your statement right now, my friend.
Yeah, no.
Would be a different story,
Yeah.
although you're still, having in some way the good life, Durango Lounge, $151. What are you buying at the lounge for $150?
You buy a few drinks, and that's what happens. Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much a lot of like small restaurants, little bars, and so on. I'm not saying no, and like I'm not saying any really significant outliers, not crazy trips. Amazon, well, like anyone, you're pretty much on it quite often, but expenses range between 30, 40.
Yeah.
A lot of going out. Easter House, Republic, Yard House, 50, 75, 25. Man, no, but come on. I have a question for you here. You're allowing yourself pretty significant expenses. Blue Martini, $75. When you have $60,000 of credit card debt or any of that bad debt, what goes through your mind? We need to lock that shit down. What's happening?
Yeah, it's just that mentality that I've, for a long time I've been able to, I haven't had the issues, and I've been able to maintain all my credit, everything, Obviously, I'm not paying it down like I should, and now, I'm like, I'm not my bigger problem is I'm not a homebody. I don't like being at home, and I work from home now because the office for the company is downsized to a very small office. There's not really a lot of room for a lot of people there, so I love working at the office, but I'm working at home. And so I'm at home a lot, and I like to get out, and there's not really, this Vegas, you know what I mean? Like, in the evenings, what is there to do? You go out, have some drinks, have some dinner.
Are you
I
back
don't have
on
a
the
lot of
dating
time
scene?
to that too.
Yeah.
I'm on the dating scene, and that's where you see the places I'm going.
Yeah.
Has to do with the dating scene. Let's be real. I was gonna say it. Don't worry. I was gonna say it. You got it out of me, but I was gonna say that I'm single again. And
For our friend here, looking at some of the rest of your expenses, you buy at Sprouts, which is an organic shop. Okay, I can see that. But you are also helping financially your mother, which is often the case, guys. As your parents grow older, maybe they haven't put themselves in the right financial situation, and now you're spending over $1,000 helping her as well. So, you're combining that. You're helping your daughter. You're helping for all your previous debt. You've made the house payment. You've made the renovation. You have the expensive cars. How many strings can we pull until at some point? Right now, I'm happy you have DraftKings and your saving account because everything else, there is nothing.
nothing.
This is going to be juicy because this is going to come as intervention as we transitioning together.
I feel like I should put headgear on for this. Like, you're gonna chop me down, man.
As we're transitioning together into pretty tough segment on our show, the money case. One of the big things that's going with your situation is the amount of bad debt that you've accumulated. And I'm not going to be accounting here for the mortgage. The biggest thing that I'm concerned with is that right now you're literally throwing money to the garbage with the goal of saving your credit score, but for something that you don't really need at this point in your life, at least for the next couple of years. But I want to bring realization to this. Right now, my friend, how much do you think you're paying of interest on your loans in a monthly basis? I'm not speaking mortgage.
Just my credit cards and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, 1,500.
Pretty much spot on. So every month right now, you're paying $1,451 of interest. This, my friend, is potentially what you could be spending towards a retirement plan, which, okay, you've put a little bit of money on the side, but it's on the traditional 401k, so you're going to be taxed like crazy. But this is mostly what you need for your mother, which, as far as I know, is not going to improve. So you're spending all of that money here for what? For what? I'm personally done with this. I think we need to act because right now you've not put yourself in a strong financial situation to go over that lump. You've dig yourself too much down. And so I'm about to show you something that's really going to surprise yourself. When I look at your finances, speaking of the blueprint for recovery, there are really three things that I look for. Your needs, this is money to survive, to assume all your minimum payments, everything. Your wants, this is money to have fun at Blue Martini and at Polo Loco, or through at T-Mobile Arena for $100, which we'll have to reconsider. And your gold, this is the most important one. This is to save, pay back interest, and invest. Right now, you need some to 10,826. This, my friend, is 112% of your income. Assuming that you're renting those 3 rooms. If you're not renting those 3 rooms, you're at 168%. You're losing thousands of dollars every month. Right now, On your wants, I'm going to have to give you a little bit of a budget, but we cannot go and allow ourselves some of the luxuries that we've had in recent months. I understand the situation that you're finding yourself right now, but my goal at least is for you, as soon as humanly possible, to stop losing money. Because we're continuing to lose right now at the rate of about 1,800 to 2,200 per month. Well, my friend, you have, about, a couple of months, a little bit more than a year in front of you, realistically. I mean, you have, a good net worth from the equity on your house, but I don't want you to sell that house. And so I don't want to put yourself in a pinch where that becomes in question. So we're going to do something that's a little bit drastic. I'm going to ask you to reduce your wants to $100 per week. I think this is very reasonable. It's $400. You're making still decent money, with your job, side hustles, but $100 per week to me seems very achievable, at least for the next 6 months.
Okay.
Because again, we're targeting a break-even point, which we don't have right now. The recommendation that I think is going to come to your surprise is that I want for you to stop all payments. Everything. Except for a few that we're going to discuss together. One is going to be your student loans. I don't want you to stop payment on those. I want you to reach out to them and renegotiate the rate at which you're paying. You're paying $670. Right now, we can't afford something like this. Because it's a federal and based on your income, you should be able to speak with them and renegotiate that. You might be saving at least $250. It's not savings. It's just I want for us to reallocate that money differently right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Number 2, I want you to keep payment on your mortgage. Absolutely no question about that. Your HELOC, your mortgage, this needs to be clear as water. Nothing arise. Your house is your biggest asset, and I want for you to keep it this way. What I want you to stop payment on is all your credit cards. Okay? And don't worry, you're not going to build a bad relationship with them. What is going to happen is we need to let those fall in collection. So if I was in your shoes, truthfully, right now you're looking at amounts that would put you can pay that money. That's what's crazy about it, is that you have the funds to pay for all that debt if you want now. But what does that leave you? That leaves you with absolutely $0 of savings. Zero. Nada. But at least you're not accumulating on $1,450 that is being thrown to the garbage every month. So you really have two paths. Either you decide to use your savings to pay for those cards, and that gives you a massive reset. But that puts a massive fire under your butt to make it work. Because right now what I'm thinking is happening in your mind, my dear friend, is that you have that cushion of $50,000, $60,000 of money that you're like, okay, I mean, I'm okay. But you're spending like crazy on the side to sustain that when you could be paying that amount. So two routes. Either you're saying, fuck it. I want to protect my score. I want to maintain the cards and the credit history that I have. Okay? I'm going to put myself in a tight rope, but I'm going to be addressing some of the debt here that I'm seeing, notably the rates that are at 25% on $17,000, 26% on $2,700. Those are massive, massive debt. There is no investments other than ultra risky. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be DraftKings that is going to get you out of that shit. That's going to allow you to pay back that. In fact, I want you to take the freaking DraftKings shit that you've had on that brokerage account and pay that debt that is costing you 25% on that credit card. Think about it, the dynamic of it. You're betting right now on DraftKings to rise 25% in a year, when here I can give you a guaranteed 25% on your money. My friend, if any time in my life I'm offered 25% on a safe investment, I will put every single dime that I own currently right now on that position. So you're wanting to invest in other facets of your life when here you're paying rates 25, 26%. No. So what I want you to do, is two things. Any credit card right now that has over 20%, assuming that you don't want to file in two collections, which I don't think will fit with your personality. I think you're not going to accept that, right? But I'm still going to offer that solution. Stick with us, guys.
I'll think about it because you're telling me this. I'll give you that.
Any rate that has over 20%, I want you to take your savings right now and pay it right away. That's the $17,000 Citibank. That's the Home Depot line of equity at 26%. That's the RC Willey. That's at 21%. Okay? That's assuming this. Because what's going to be happening is that I'm voluntarily putting you in a constrained scenario where you don't have a choice but to force yourself into acting on your financial situation. Because right now you have that breath of fresh air that you're not looking and you're delaying the biggest jump. Yeah. But by putting you into a tight spot where still you're saving $15,000 ahead of you, you're going to find that pressure that will force you to find additional solutions. Because one of the big things that you told me off camera is that you know how to make money. Of course, you will find a way. And I need you to get constrained and force yourself so that there is no emotion in your decisions. Because I doubt, my friend, that you will react the same way of allowing yourself $150, $160 dinners when you have $15,000 on your account at 49 years old. Forget about the equity that you have on your house. You shouldn't even think about that. You know? That ring, sell it. If you can get $5,000, $6,000, sell it. Because here we're looking at 13, 14, 15% return on your investment. It's okay. You take the hit. I don't care right now. I want to put you into that constraint scenario. The other solution is you maintain your savings. You let those rot in collections for a year and a half, 2 years. All of those accounts are going to close. You're going to go through a debt consolidation firm, and they will ask you for small payments that they're going to then negotiate with the credit card companies. And so instead of the $60,000 or so that you own, you will most probably have to own 40. Okay. Is that worth it? At your level of life, I would take the hit and pay those with my savings right now. Keep the $15,000 as the ultimate last resource, but don't mess your credit lines and your credit score. Even if you don't need it, you're such an age that I don't want you to feel the fact that you have then to restart from zero. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have to close all those accounts. You're going to lose all that history, okay? It's not going to put you into a really good face in front of those banks. I don't know the relationship that you've had, but you're not 22 years old anymore. I think you need to re-envision the way you look at your hobbies and your side hustle and bring back that hustle mentality that, in a way, I feel, my friend, you've lost, unfortunately. On top of that, I would this year consider converting some of the funds of your traditional 401k into your Roth, because you are going to be at a low tax bracket that you've never experienced in the past 10 years against your income. So I want you to transition that into a Roth so you benefit from it. Sell DraftKings as soon as humanly possible. We've spoken about that. Once you invest again into brokerage, which I want for you to do at some point once we stabilized. Right now, what's going on is you have the build of the Titanic in a way, because you've put yourself into good spot. The house, you know, some of the financial positions, retirement, you're solid with $200,000. It's not crazy, but it's decent. But you have a hole on your ship. I want to patch that hole. And I don't want to patch that hole with, a quick piece of tape. I want to patch it forever. You're going to renegotiate your insurance because $400 is a joke. And you're also going to maintain your spending to $400 per month on the fluff that you don't need. You're going to keep your house. You're going to keep your car. The next car is not going to be a brand new lease at $700. You're going to stay at around the $300 mark if you want to go for a lease. You're going to have to humble yourself for 2 years until you find yourself back in the place where you can stabilize and then chase on your dreams. I think that your situation is highly savable. Like you have a high probability of success because you still have a good net worth for you. But if you let yourself in that environment that you're presenting yourself today here, I give you 12 months until things starts to really hit. And then you're not in that scenario where you have the chance to look at different options for you. What do you think?
I think this has been eye-opening, and I think these are some wonderful ideas. And while you're talking, I've been processing and thinking all these things, and I got to take action.
Yeah, because what's going to be absolutely amazing is, remember, and that's the golden nugget, the money case, that $1,400. That's a lot of money that you can then reinvest, repay your credit cards. It's going to give you that push that you've been missing. Right now, in a way, I must tell you, this is how I would think about your situation. You are losing on all fronts except for your house.
True.
So one by one, tackle everything that you interact with and try and get a win. Get that win on that credit card repayment. Get that win on selling that shit brokerage on DraftKings. Get that win on rebalancing your retirement funds. Get that win on that student loan repayment, because it's federal. You have leverage. You're doing good with the having roommates. I think this is an excellent situation for at least 2 years. I don't want you to live with roommates forever. But 2 to 3 years, get that money in and start flowing. What is going to be your situation? You think that you're going to go the saving route, exhausting your saving, or you're going to go the...
I'm going to go the savings.
I think I
the
would
DraftKings, because I've already been thinking about cashing that out. The DraftKings, the savings, because I look at my bottom line every month, just in what you see there. That doesn't include my food and whatever I spend on myself, you know.
That's what I mentioned in your needs, yeah. 112%.
Just that, I just wanted to simplify everything and get to where I don't have to worry so much about my bills.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? My bills are just this much, and then I can just do whatever I need to do.
Exactly.
Because I know I can always make at least that much, no matter what. You know what I mean? And then I can focus on my things that I want to do.
Exactly.
You know, so this is just perfect.
Yeah. And I think that you will find that point of balance if you play the game right. Despite the fluctuation of your income, assuming your base, as soon as 6 to 8 months, you can get back on the ship and really start like going through the momentum, because that's how finance reconstruction happens. And I've seen it, is you just need a little bit of that spark at the beginning to then crank on the engine, and then it's exponential. You're going to be saving on interest. You're going to be finding momentum in wanting to take on more challenges through paying back that debt, and you're just going to find yourself in a more stable financial mind, which you deserved at 49 years old in your situation. So I'm not too concerned about you. You just need to take action. Don't mess up on the next rounds, and I will be following up with you.
Glad I came here today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Arturo, for opening up and being so vulnerable. It was a great experience. I invite you guys to check out the links in the description below for some of the resources I use, to like and subscribe. This helps the channel tremendously. Until then, I see you guys next time. À bientôt.